Most profitable side hustle videos ignore the one real constraint you actually have. They ignore your time. They sell you on £10,000 months. But the reality of the UK side hustle market is much quieter. Data from platforms tracking UK side hustle earnings shows that the majority of people earn between £100 and £500 a month. Less than 10% ever consistently break the £1,000 mark. That's not a reason to give up. It's a reason to choose strategically. If you are working a full-time job, your constraints are rigid. You have limited energy after work. You have family obligations, and your weekend availability is likely guarded. This video is not about quitting your job tomorrow or finding a magic loophole, and it is about identifying which side hustles actually fit a 5 to 15-hour weekly schedule. Not just the most profitable on paper, but the ones that structurally make sense for a working professional. Before we look at specific options, we need to reframe what profitable actually means. Because the question most people ask is the wrong one. They ask which hustle pays the most. The better question is which hustle gives you the highest return per hour and keeps improving that ratio over time, even when you're not actively working. That's what leverage means in this context. Not financial leverage. Effort leverage. Side hustles fall into 3 distinct leverage categories. The first is time-based income. You trade an hour for a fixed amount of cash. Gig work, delivery driving, task-based labor. It starts fast. The barrier to entry is low, and the ceiling is your available hours. Nothing compounds, nothing carries forward. The second is skill-based income. You develop a capability, writing, marketing, tutoring, design. And that skill becomes more valuable as your reputation builds. Your rate can increase. Your process becomes more efficient. The income doesn't scale automatically, but the effort to return ratio can improve significantly over time. The third is asset-based income. You build something once, a digital product, an affiliate resource, a content channel, and it continues generating results with less active input over time. The front-loaded effort is significant. The time-to-income window is long, but the compounding potential is real. Here is why this matters before you pick anything. If a side hustle pays you immediately, it is almost certainly a time hustle. Low barrier to entry, high competition, tightly capped earning ceiling. Why the fastest money is rarely the most profitable is one of the more counterintuitive realities of this space, and most side hustle content never addresses it. Most people start in the wrong category for their situation. Understanding the 3 tiers first changes everything about which option makes sense. Now, let's go through specific options. Not as a ranked list, but as a structured breakdown. Setup difficulty, skill requirement, startup cost, time to results, leverage level. Same framework for each. Freelance writing and digital marketing. This operates firmly in the skill leverage tier. Setup difficulty is medium. Skill requirement is medium to high depending on your niche. Startup costs are generally between £0 and £100, typically covering a basic portfolio site or domain. Time to first income is usually 1 to 2 months if you're consistent with outreach and pitching. Demand exists here because businesses actively outsource digital content to reduce overhead, blog posts, email sequences, social media, ad copy. Most companies don't hire full-time for it. That gap is where freelancers operate. Platforms that reduce setup time and connect you with clients can act as execution multipliers. They don't replace the work, but they reduce friction at the start. Typical outcomes vary considerably. Some people report earning between £300 and £600 per month within the first 3 months, scaling higher as their client base and reputation develop. Neither figure is guaranteed. And what you are building alongside your bank balance is a reputation asset, and that asset compounds in ways that an hourly rate never will. The real constraint is client acquisition. The skill itself is learnable. Finding consistent work takes longer than most people expect, and managing scope creep, revisions, and occasionally late payments adds a layer of friction that tutorials tend to underplay. Online tutoring. Setup difficulty is low. You likely already possess the required academic or professional knowledge. Skill requirement is medium, with communication and patience carrying significant weight alongside subject expertise. Startup cost is virtually zero. Time to first booking can be days to a couple of weeks, depending on the platform and subject demand. Here is the leverage distinction worth understanding. Number tutoring is still a direct trade of time for money, but at a premium rate. It does not scale infinitely. What it does offer is a reliable, stable income floor. And that floor matters when you are simultaneously building something in the asset tier that won't pay you for months. Choosing tutoring as your primary hustle while building a digital product on the side is a coherent strategic pairing. Most people don't think about their hustles in combination. They should. Reselling and e-commerce. Setup difficulty is medium. Skill requirement is relatively low at the start, with the focus sitting heavily on sourcing and margin management. Startup costs range from £50 to £300 depending on the model. Platforms provide existing audiences and built-in trust. You are leveraging their traffic rather than building your own from scratch. Early sales can happen within the first month if your sourcing and pricing are right. The challenge is per hour return. Sourcing, photographing, listing, packaging, dispatching. The work adds up. Your profitability is tied directly to how efficient your process becomes and how well you identify consistently strong sourcing channels. This sits between time and skill leverage. It can improve over time, but it rarely becomes fully asynchronous. Digital products. This is pure asset leverage being, and it has the longest runway of anything on this list. Setup difficulty is medium. Skill requirement is medium. The core challenge is packaging knowledge in a way that delivers genuine value to a specific audience. Startup costs are low, usually under £150 covering design tools or a basic distribution platform. Time to meaningful income is 3 to 6 months for most people, assuming consistent promotion alongside creation. The mechanics worth understanding are these. You build a template, a dates, a guide, a course, or a resource once. Platforms handle delivery and payment. Each unit sold beyond your initial investment doesn't require additional hours. Your effective hourly return increases over time without a proportional increase in effort, which is what compounding actually looks like in practical terms. The counterpoint is discoverability. A product doesn't sell itself. Building an audience or driving traffic is real, sustained work. The asset is only as valuable as the channel pointing people toward it. Automation tools and email marketing platforms reduce the ongoing friction, not the upfront effort, but the maintenance load once things are moving. This brings us to what most side hustle content skips entirely. Every category has a hidden cost layer that only becomes visible once you start. Freelancing brings client acquisition difficulty and burnout risk. Managing a full-time job while handling client deadlines, revisions, and the administrative overhead of running a small service business is structurally taxing. Side hustle income also varies significantly month to month, a reality that catches people off guard when they've been planning around a consistent figure. E-commerce brings platform dependency, fee structures change, listing rules evolve. Visibility can shift without warning. But your business operates inside someone else's ecosystem, and the degree of control you have over that environment is limited. Digital products bring a discoverability challenge that often stretches the patience of even disciplined builders. You can create something genuinely valuable and wait months for meaningful traction because the channel isn't established yet. Content creation brings algorithm exposure. Platform reach can reset years of accumulated work in a short window when priorities change. None of these are reasons to avoid these options. They are reasons to factor them into your planning and to build your approach around known constraints rather than best-case projections. So, how do you choose? If you need income within weeks, time-based and platform-assisted options are the faster path. Gig work, tutoring, reselling. The trade-off is lower long-term scalability. If you have a skill or are willing to develop one, freelancing gives you a route to increasing your rate over time. The income-to-hours ratio can improve, even if your weekly hours don't change. If you have a 12 to 18-month window and you're willing to work without immediate returns, asset-building categories offer the highest eventual leverage. They require a consistency that most people underestimate when they start. There is also the question of energy, not just time. 40 hours at a job, a commute, family. The hours you have available may technically be 15 per week, but the quality of those hours matters. Choosing something that fits your cognitive load, not just your calendar, is a real strategic factor that most frameworks ignore. The framing worth carrying forward from this video is simple. Side hustles are not income replacements at the start. They are optionality builders. They give you more choices over time about how you work, what you charge, what you're willing to take on, and what you're not. That shift doesn't happen through urgency. It happens through consistent decisions that compound over months. Profitability often increases as effort decreases, but only after systems are built. The front-loaded work is what creates the reduction later. That's not motivation. That's sequencing. The most useful question at this stage is not which hustle makes the most money. It is which hustle you can sustain for 6 months while your regular income stays intact. Stability first, expansion second. Income follows leverage, not urgency. Choose your tier. You build the system. Let the compounding do the rest.